Andrew Ravens here of ravensnewspost.com, bringing you the results from UFC 196, which took place on March 5th, 2016. It's been a long day. It's been a long night, but we got it done, folks. We have not only the play-by-play, not only the press conference, but as well as each and every fight breakdown and recap on ravensnewspost.com. So definitely go out there, check it out, and we'll really get into it. And really, UFC 196 was all about the last two fights, right? It was a welterweight bout, main event between Diaz and Conor McGregor, as well as the co-main, which was a fantastic fight between Holm and Miesha Tate for the women's bantamweight title. And the rest of the card was actually very good. The first three prelims that aired on UFC Fight Pass were really, really, really good fights. You had two quick stoppages, and then the Diego Sanchez-Jim Miller fight went to a decision. That was good. The Fox Sports 1 prelims, they weren't bad either. 3 out of 4 went to finish, 2 by TKO and 1 by submission. And then the main card, it opened up really, really good between Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko in a women's bantamweight bout, which Nunes picked up the win by unanimous decision. Things kind of slowed down in the light heavyweight bout between Corey Anderson and Tom Lawler. Anderson picked up the win by decision, and Anderson actually got a scorecard of 30-27, 2 out of 3 judges, which I'm a little shocked by because Lawler almost finished him in the first round. And then the next fight really wasn't anything to talk about. Latifi beat Vellante via decision. That was a straight 30-27 scorecard. So let's get into these final two bouts because that's really the story of this fight card. So basically, the first round, nothing happened. Miesha Tate was very cautious in this round. Her left eye started to swell up at this point. The second round was really, really telling in this fight. Tate got a late round takedown and got her back, locked in the rear naked choke. However, Holm got out of it to end the round. And then in the third and fourth round, Tate could not get a takedown to save her life. She was getting stuffed over and over and over. Holm really found her range in these two rounds and really started throwing leg kicks and side kicks and really found her range in this round and was really picking apart Tate. And Tate was just kind of stuck because she can't stand with her, yet she can't take her down. So she really just took a lot of shots. And then that really carried into the fifth round up until the last 2 minutes of the fight. In the last 2 minutes of the fight, Tate got a takedown, and then she got her back, and Holm was standing up. She tried to throw her off of her. Tate was glued to Holm's back, locked in the rear naked choke for the win, and is your new UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion. In the main event of the evening between Diaz and McGregor, the first round, I should say, was really close. Both guys were mixing up their strikes nicely. McGregor kept leaving his hands by his side and was getting tagged over and over by this. However, Diaz was bleeding from his right temple. Diaz actually took McGregor down with a minute to go. And then McGregor scrambled up on top to end the round. So it was a very, very close first round. And then in the second round, all hell broke loose. Diaz, and it goes back to McGregor leaving his hands down. McGregor was tagged by Diaz. Diaz clinched with him with 1 minute and 47 seconds left in the round, but then he was just teeing off on McGregor while in the clinch, pressed up against the cage. McGregor started throwing wild shots. He got tagged again. McGregor actually shot in for a takedown with 1 minute and 8 seconds left in the round. Diaz went for a choke. McGregor got out of it, and in the meantime, Diaz transitioned into full mount, then back mount, then just started blitzing him with a series of strikes. McGregor at one point, and which is what set up the finish, instead of putting his hands to the side of his head or in front of his face to cover his nose, he put his hands on his chest. Now, I can understand if he did that on his throat, but he put it on his chest, and it was very, very easy for Diaz just to lock up in that rear naked choke and choke McGregor out. And so there's a lot of questions leading out of this event. One, there's actually, not only is there several questions, but there's several questions for the main and co-main. Do you do Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate 2 immediately? Do you do Holly Holm versus Ronda Rousey 2 immediately? Do you do Miesha Tate versus Ronda Rousey for the third time immediately? A lot of questions. And there's been a lot of speculation, and Dana White, UFC president, has stated, and Rousey as well, has stated that she would come back in November. It's March. So you could have, and I think they will do, they'll do Holly Holm Tate 2 at probably UFC 200, and then the winner of that bout go on to face Rousey in either December or January. That's what they will most likely do. And then in the main event, there are several different options that they can go with Conor McGregor. They could have him defend his title against Frankie Edgar, who's the number one contender, or defend his featherweight championship against former champion Jose Aldo. It'd make more sense for Edgar to get the title shot over Aldo, but it's a UFC and you never know what's going to happen. You could have McGregor fight lightweight champion Rafael dos Santos, or you could go even crazier, and I don't know why they would do this, but it's definitely on the table because they were talking about this. You could do Robbie Lawler, who's the UFC welterweight champion, and McGregor next. Several options, and I'm sure that those questions will be asked at the UFC press conference in a matter of moments as of this recording, which is about 1 a.m. Central Time. I don't expect them to give a lot of answers on this. I think it'll be a while. I think we'll see McGregor back at UFC 200. I think he'll take some time off. It would most likely make sense for him to fight. If they really wanted to go big, and I don't know if they would do this or not, you could have McGregor versus Edgar, Diaz versus Dos Anjos, and Holm versus Tate at UFC 200. That would be massive. I don't see them doing 3 championship bouts, but it's very possible. Like I said, I don't see them doing that, but it's a great idea. But you're at least going to get 2 title fights at UFC 200. A lot of questions coming out of UFC 196. Once again, Nate Diaz stunned Conor McGregor with a second-round choke, and Miesha Tate is the new UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion after she defeated Holly Holm, the woman who defeated Ronda Rousey, in the 5th round with a rear naked choke. All right, y'all. Andrew Ravens here of RavensNewsPost.com. We'll talk to you next time.